the Suns.
What's up, everyone? This is Kellen Olson. I'm Kevin Zimmerman. We are ArizonaSports.com writers and editors and Empire of the Suns podcast people. And today, the Suns, it's a curveball, threw us. Ryan McDonough is out as GM 9 days before the season opener. I'll just let you talk about that.
The timing is truly bizarre. It truly just leads to just conspiracy theories as to what happened here. Did Ryan McDonough have a offer for a starting point guard in front of him and didn't want to take it because he didn't agree with the value of the trade and it was something the owner wanted? Was this something where Robert Sarver saw 3 preseason games and said, no, thank you? Because this goes beyond McDonough. There's reporting from the Athletics' Michael Scotto, the assistant GM Pat Connolly, and I believe the head of scouting were both let go as well. So it's not surprising when I saw it. I was not 100% shocked, and that should tell you the mindset surrounding this franchise in the past 5-6 years, really.
It's just weird because of you let a guy draft DeAndre Ayton. Not that we're criticizing that, but it's what if another GM was going to draft someone else? What if another GM wouldn't have hired Igor Kokoshkov? We're not panning that either. McDonough definitely has a lot of things that added up against him. Just in the draft, and maybe it was bad luck, whether you look at Alex Len, Dragan Bender has not looked good. Hiring Earl Watson, I maintain, is the biggest mistake, but that's also on the owner ultimately, especially an owner that's, according to reports, still very much involved in the decision-making process.
To go back to the point that you were making, trading up for Mikal Bridges with that Miami pick was a move that made sense for them because of what they're trying to build, but also because they valued Mikal Bridges very highly on their draft board. Where was Mikal Bridges on the draft board of the GM coming up? Or was James Jones, if it's James Jones, is he a guy that thinks Mikal Bridges was a top 10 guy in that draft? That's the problem now, is that you have this core group set up. You have DeAndre Ayton, you have Devin Booker, you have Josh Jackson, and Mikal Bridges. Then you have these other ancillary pieces like first-round picks that you've kept around, TJ Warren, Elliot Kobo, DeAnthony Melton, and so on. This new GM is going to come in here and have their own opinions on those players and lead them to make some of these choices. Or Robert Sarver is going to make those choices. So now it's really out of your hands, and it's just it's really strange timing because this is really the jumping off point where the Suns were supposed to win 30 games, and then they look towards really the season after this one to start maybe looking at a playoff spot because all the young pieces are here, all the young talent is here, now it's time to go. And that's what's so confusing about this. And why give McDonough an extension last year, and then after a year in which he got DeAndre Ayton, he got Mikal Bridges, he added these nice veteran pieces around, and Trevor Ariza and Ryan Anderson, got off the Brandon Knight issue, got off the Marquise Chris issue. It just seems irrational, and it seems like a reactionary type of thing that has been done. And, of course, Sarver has the track record for this, so once again, it's not all that surprising.
I'll just take you through the track record. You have continuously guys acting as holdovers from previous tenures in leadership. You have Lon Babby, who was the Lance Blanks era president of basketball ops. He kind of handed off to Ryan McDonough and then kind of stepped away. You have James Jones coming in last year right when McDonough is given an extension, and now he's taking over, and it looks like he very well could be the favorite at this point to land McDonough's job as leader of this front office. If you look at coaches even, it's been that same way where they bring in a guy who has no experience and then they hope that he replaces, and it almost looks like very clearly set up for that to happen. And so at some point it has to be the Suns have to believe in who they're hiring. If you don't believe in, get rid of everyone, move on. And I think that's the most concerning trend, that this doesn't really change this narrative about this franchise as a whole.
So overall conclusions, and then looking forward to what's next. Ryan McDonough deserved to be fired. It's not like he has been this perfect general manager, or even a good general manager for that fact. He drafted Len, Bender, and Chris. He had Eric Bledsoe, Goran Dragic, and Isaiah Thomas, got rid of all 3 of them and gave up Isaiah Thomas for basically nothing, and he went on to become an MVP candidate.
Poor relationships, yes.
Winds up with Brandon Knight, the whole Morris twins. Look, I know a lot of you are not fans of the Morris twins. Me and Kevin probably not as much either. I like them as basketball players, but to give them a team-friendly, them to give the Suns a team-friendly contract extension for the sake of them staying together, and then to trade his brother without telling him. He has to find out via the reporting or via his agent or whatever. It just spoke to some of the issues that they had going on. So he's a guy that definitely is not without wrong here and deserved it. But with that being said, looking forward, now you look at the hole at point guard. You look at maybe power forward beyond Ryan Anderson. You worry that there are going to be some moves made to win 33, 34 games next year at the expense of the future. Something we've talked about on our podcast is something like Josh Jackson for Terry Rozier. That makes a lot of sense. They might trade Josh Jackson for someone like Kemba Walker, who is an expiring contract and could very well leave after a year. Now you've given up a top 5 pick in Josh Jackson for 1 year of a point guard, and that's the type of stuff that seems quite honestly likely, given that Sarver is at the helm, and seems like the timing of this points to the results weren't trending in the direction he wanted to, and he wants them to be contending within 2 years, which is not a realistic thing, but owners are owners. They're going to do what they're going to do.
The point guard, or lack of a point guard thing aside, I think we finally arrived to this place where we're like, all right, let's just see basketball now. We've been rid of that idea. We're going to go talk about it more on our podcast. Check out arizonasports.com for more as well.
98.7 FM, Arizona's sports station.